A regular meeting of the City Council held in the Council Chamber on Thursday, September 27, 2012 at 7 p.m. for the purpose of transacting any and all business. Notice of this meeting was posted on September 20th, 2012 at 3:01 p.m. This meeting is being taped and is live on SATV. All councilors present except for Councilor Prevey, who has an excused absence this evening. Councilor President Lovely presiding. Councilor Fury moved to dispense with the reading of the record of the previous meeting. All those in favor? Opposed? So voted. I now request that everyone please rise to recite the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilor O'Keefe.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to open the meeting with the public testimony portion of the meeting. We have three residents that would like to be heard this evening. The first is Daniel Turgill. Daniel, if you would please come up to the podium, right here. Right here. And for the record, cite your name and address and what you'd like to speak about tonight.
Daniel Turgill, 375 Essex Street, Swampscott, Mass. I actually am not going to speak at length, just introduce the topic, and I think I'm going to come back after it goes to a subcommittee. So just introduce it here. I brought a pamphlet that has some more information. We are looking for the right to access the Salem City's telephone poles in Vinnon Square. The gist of the conversation on the technical side will be with National Grid and Verizon, but we do need the city's permission. So I'll leave it at that and look forward to coming back and explaining in greater detail.
Thank you. Councilor O'Keefe.
Through you, ma'am, members of the City Council. Daniel, Mr. Turgeon spoke to us earlier. Spoke to Councilor Siegel and myself, and we both believe this matter should be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Legislative Affairs, perhaps, and also to have a hearing at the next meeting at the same time.
It's in the agenda, Councilor.
Okay, what is up to the council's pleasure?
We can do that during the regular portion of the meeting.
All right. So, any questions? If suspension of the rules to allow Daniel to say any questions now? Hearing none? All right.
All set?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Robert White. Robert, if you would please come to the podium. Your name and address for the record, please.
Robert White, 16 Daniel Street, Apartment 2, Salem, Mass. And I would like to speak about a bench being placed on Daniel Street by the Pig's Eye.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And the third speaker this evening, Jennifer Reardon. Jennifer, would you come up and cite your name and address for the record, please?
Jennifer Reardon, 35 Chestnut Street, Salem, owner of In a Pig's Eye Restaurant on 148 Derby Street. I've already submitted a proposal to the city for a bench that has been there for 5+ years since the smoking ban went in effect, and apparently now it seems to be a problem with Mr. White. I don't know if you want me to elaborate on anything about it. It's a 4-foot bench, 21 inches deep. It's ADA compliant. It sits out in front of my restaurant. The purpose that it serves is for if we're busy and people are waiting for tables, they might sit on it. Smokers go out and they do sit on it. Tourists come by, they sit on it. People waiting, handicapped people waiting for cabs or someone to pick them up, sit on it. I really don't understand why this is a problem. As I said, it's been there for 5+ years, and I really don't understand, other than me to be here as a formality to get a permit to have it out in front of the place, which I never knew that I needed to do. So that's why I'm here, to get the permit for it.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. There being no others that would like to speak before the council this evening, we will move on to the next portion of the agenda, which is a very special occasion, and why the council is crowded with people tonight, which is what we like to see. It's the swearing of 3 firefighters, and so I would ask that the mayor into the chamber. Oh, here you are. I'm sorry, Mayor. Come on up. Mayor Driscoll. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Lovely. I'll be brief, and certainly it is a happy occasion for us to be able to celebrate with all the families who are here, the appointment of several new firefighters, and one promotion within the fire department to lieutenant. I really want to recognize our incoming new firefighters and our soon-to-be new lieutenant, and thank the council. It's a real joint effort and a commitment on our part to continue to invest in public safety. We're very, very proud of the fire department. I routinely talk about the fact that we have the best trained, best staffed, and soon to be best equipped with a new truck on the way, department on the North Shore. And it's a tribute to the folks working together to make sure we have the resources to provide public safety to all of our residents in a really meaningful way. We have a very, very, very short service and time for service in terms of how long it takes to access homes and get there, and it's due to our desire to make sure we're investing in those areas. So not only do we get there quick, but we get there well trained in solid equipment, and that's the sacrifices made by the folks in the department and their families. Oftentimes it's late hours, it's odd times of work. And certainly it can be very dangerous. And I recognize the folks who are bringing on to the department, know they're going to be added additions. We know we need folks, but more importantly, we've got quality people we're putting on. And also want to thank all the folks who are here who are part of the department and continue to keep that tradition of excellence that we're so very proud of. With that, I'd ask the chief to come up. I know he wants to offer a few remarks, and then we'll proceed with the swearing in. Chief Cody?
I'd just like to thank everyone for coming tonight, and especially thank the council for letting us do this. And Mayor, thank you very much for those kind words. It is a good department. I'd like to introduce you to the 4 new firefighters. We have Michael Bonfiglio, Matthew Keene, Steve McCarthy, and Jason Tarasuk. The first 3 have been with us for about a month now, and Jason will start with us on October 16th. We also have Richard Thomas, who's being promoted to lieutenant this evening. Thank you very much.
I'm going to ask you when I pause to fill in your name. Okay? All right. You can raise your right hand and repeat after me. I. Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform
discharge and perform
all the duties incumbent upon me
all the duties incumbent upon me
as firefighter,
as firefighter,
acting to the best of my ability and understanding,
acting to the best of my ability and understanding,
agreeably with the Constitution and laws
agreeably with the Constitution and laws
of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
and the Charter and ordinances
and the Charter and ordinances
of the City of Salem,
of the City of Salem.
so help me God.
So help me God.
I
I, Steve McCarthy,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Don. You do have to officially sign the book, and if you can proceed to the city clerk's table right down there, and we will swear in our new lieutenant.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're gonna help me.
You can tell me.
Any words?
Stand right next to him.
You got the grant?
Okay.
I
I, Richard Thomas,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform
discharge and perform
all the duties incumbent upon me
all the duties incumbent upon me
as lieutenant,
as lieutenant,
acting to the best of my ability and understanding,
acting to the best of my ability and understanding,
agreeably with the Constitution and laws
agreeably with the Constitution and laws
of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
and the Charter and ordinances
and the Charter and ordinances
of the City of Salem,
of the City of Salem.
so help me God.
So help me God.
I
I, Richard Thomas,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Councilor McCarthy?
Madam President, I request a 5-minute recess.
There being no objection, we'll have a 5-minute recess. Please, everyone, come up and take pictures around the podium of your sworn-in firefighters and the...
So, yeah,
President, at this point in time, what I'd like to do is do the committee that have been waiting for quite some time. What I want to take in particular is the matter of the bench at In a Pig's Eye Restaurant. The City of Salem and City Council, September 27, 2012. The Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, to whom is referred the matter regarding a bench on Daniel Street, has considered said matter and would recommend that the matter be reported out to the full council with no recommendation.
On acceptance of the committee report, all those in favor, opposed, so voted. On adoption of the recommendation, Councilor Sosnowski.
Thank you, Madam President. Basically, we had a very lengthy conversation. Jennifer Reardon, John Reardon were here representing the Pig's Eye. We had Mike Likowski, the Assistant Building Inspector here, and we had a few other folks here as well in front of the whole committee. That being said, we addressed the whole issue and we talked about a variety of things. Basically, the history of the bench was presented to the committee, how it was created. It was a donation in memory of a patron from a long time ago. And it's been kind of a fixture, very much part of the whole restaurant scene down there totally. However, apparently, at some point in time, it's causing a disturbance in the neighborhood, and that was what prompted the complaint. So a gentleman has filed a complaint relative to that causing late-night noise and unnecessary problems, to which actually we received a copy of his letter that's before us this evening, and we also have a police report. And the police report actually goes into 10 individual cases of way late noise complaints. Basically, here's an average complaint. 118, a noise complaint, loud group on bench. 122:53, cleared, moved along. And it was responded to the Derby and Daniel Street on a report of a loud group. The group was moving along as I approached. And it goes on and on and on like that for 10 different times. There's a bunch of councilors that were there at this particular meeting. I believe it was co-posted, I think, with the Committee of the Whole. And for those councilors that want to speak at this point, I'd like them to speak. But however, some of the reasons why we didn't come up with this is because we're conflicted here. We really want the bench to stay, but yet at the same time, we want the bench not to cause a problem. So some of the things here it was explained that there was a trial period where the bench was actually removed for a period of time. During that period of time, people still congregated outside, so it really wasn't a matter of whether the bench was there or not. It then became an issue of controlling the people. And like in any restaurant, how do you control the people? Well, you can control, I think the numbers that were used that particular evening during the discussion were, you can control 90% of the people, but you're going to have your 10% that you can't control. And you can't tell them not to be loud, you can't tell them not to swear, because that's what they're going to do. However, that being said, this is a unique situation in that it borders, Derby Street is obviously a mix of residential and commercial. This particular bench is on the residential side, and that's where it's leading to a lot of people having a hard time making a firm decision. Yes, it should stay, no, yes, it should move, all right, or go away. There's been a lot of comments on that. Some of the comments have even been suggested by Councilor Siegel that maybe what we should do to solve the whole problem is either put it out on Derby Street rather as compared to keeping it on Daniel Street, or if it stays on Daniel Street, bring it in at night. When the shop is closed, when the bar is closed, when the restaurant is closed, bring it in. And if that's the cause of the problem, then theoretically that would be the end of it, because what's the closing hour? Jen?
All patrons have to be going by 1:15, but it's usually before.
So if the bench were to be brought into the restaurant at 1 o'clock in the evening, maybe that would end the whole problem. But we can't say for sure, so we don't know that. I mean, so at this point, I'm going to yield the floor to other councilors from the committee and see what they want to say, and then put the matter before the council, because I think everybody in the council would like to weigh in on this. Thank you, Madam Chair, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I just got this police report tonight, and the good Ward 2 councilor, gave one example, but as I flipped through every single one of them, responded to Derby Street, Daniel Street, report of a loud group. The group was moving along as I approached. Report talking a bench outside the Pigs Restaurant. The above was sitting quietly but agreed to move on without incident. Noise complaint, parties on bench, cleared, checked area, no one there. Group sitting on bench in front of the Pig's Eye or on arrival, no bench and no person standing in the area, all quiet. I mean, the bench has been there for 6 years, and I understand. I received a phone call on my message. I actually talked to the gentleman from Mr. White, who addressed this earlier, as well as I received a letter from his landlord, because Mr. White lives in apartment 2. His landlord sent me an email, of which I've received a hard copy tonight as well. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm a little taken aback that we're actually permitting a bench. I mean, there's a lot more we could be doing permitting a bench. The bench has been there for 6 years, and the way the ordinance is written, technically, coal bins or whatever else is on the city sidewalk has to be permitted by the building department went down. The bench fits in the area which they've designated it. It is ADA compliant. It doesn't impede nor hinder the sidewalk. I don't know, whenever I drive by there, because I drive that way when I go home from a meeting at night, and then if someone's out there smoking, they're not sitting on the bench. They're usually standing around, and they just happen to congregate on that side, which I don't know if there's a way to encourage them to stand on the Derby Street side, but, I mean, they leave because they can't smoke inside. There's people who smoke at the Witch's Brew. They stand out front. They go into the little parking lot right off the side. I mean, I understand it's in a residential neighborhood, but I don't think the issue is the bench. I think the issue is the people. And I think that, you know, the owners, I mean, every time on Derby Street alone, there are 4 more benches on Derby Street that are on the sidewalk that aren't in front of us tonight to be permitted. And I bet you if I went through the city, I could find countless more things that are on the sidewalk that, if complained about and the building department goes down, they're the first step. They determine that it's not ADA compliant, it's hindering the sidewalk, then it has to go. But if the process, now we're all involved in a process that is, the bench is there, they need a permit for the bench. So now we have to permit a bench that's on the sidewalk that isn't a hindrance, but technically the way the ordinance is written, we have to permit it. So personally, unless the licensing board approaches us and says it's a deterrent or it's a problem, or the police department, I mean, I read through these limited police reports, there may be more, but the police reports I read, out of the 10 of them, there was like 1, 2 that people were there. And, you know, people are going to, you know, depending upon the time of the year, the summertime, people are going to congregate outside. I think that the onus should be put on the owners of the building and the establishment to encourage those people to move along, but I don't think the issue is the bench. The bench itself, I think, is a nice amenity to the people that are there. The other day, I mean, a couple weeks ago, when this first came up and the bench was still there, there was actually a couple sitting on the bench, and they were waiting for either a cab or something. I didn't take the time to stop and ask them what they were doing, but it was in the middle of the day. So, in my opinion, we should move forward, allow the bench to go back there, and if it continues to be an issue and the police department and or the licensing board writes us a formal letter and asks us to have that bench removed because it's in their opinion it's a nuisance, then that's when we should consider that. Right now, the owners had no idea that they needed a permit to put a bench out there. They put a bench out there. It was complained about. The police department asked that that the building department look at it. They looked at it and said it was fine, but technically, you need a permit. I've never known for us to permit a bench before, but I guess now we're gonna. So, in my opinion, it's a difficult call because I don't like the fact that people are gathering on that side of the street, you know, towards the residential side. But the fact of the matter is, the Derby Street side is a bit more busily traveled sidewalk. The smokers, they realize the fact that people don't like it when they smoke. They don't want to be standing out in front blowing smoke on people as they're walking down trying to make their way to the House of Seven Gables or to the ferry or wherever it is they're going. And at this time, until we have some documentation from somebody else other than specifically from the license board or the police department for asking us to consider removing it, my recommendation, and I'm going to be voting in favor of putting the bench, allowing the bench back. It's been there for 6 years. And with no due respect, I understand there's differing opinions about it, but hopefully the other issues can be worked out, because I think those are issues more about late night, getting people to move along and making sure that the patrons have a firm understanding that, hey, listen, it's a great place to go. They offer entertainment. They offer live music. But at the same time, at the end of the night, it's time to go home because it is borders a residential neighborhood, so that needs to be respected as well. And I think those issues need to be worked at at the licensing board level or at the police department level. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other counselors? Counselor O'Keefe.
Madam President, members of the City Council, I was one of the opposed to the petition the night we heard it in our committee. But now I understand. I've heard from Councilor Sosnowski that the owners were amenable to having reduced hours. I mean, it would only be out a couple of hours a night and then brought in? No? Didn't you just? Okay. So it's going to be out there all the time, 365 days a year. I still can't support this petition. I believe the sidewalk is a public sidewalk, and I really wouldn't want one of these things on any of my streets in my ward. I'm sorry, I just cannot support it.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Ryan.
Thank you, Madam President. I wasn't at that meeting, but I know the bench, the area, and the bench, like Councilor McCarthy said, the bench is not the issue, because if the bench wasn't there, the people are still going to be leaning up against the building. It's a matter of moving the people along out of there, and they could take the bench and bring it in at night, but why do that? I mean, they didn't know they needed a permit, now they do. They know now, so they came in front of us. I think there's got to be something done. This sounds like more of an issue between the restaurant and, well, not the restaurant, but the patrons and the people that live next door. I mean, because they need quiet enjoyment of their house, but then again, they move next to a restaurant that's been there for a long time. And I just don't think the bench is not the issue. That the issue is the people, and I don't have a problem with keeping the bench there.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Siegel.
Thank you, Madam President. Just looking at the police reports, I just wanted to get this out there for everyone. The 10 complaints, they're all from after 1 a.m., some are 2 a.m. and further. So although it doesn't appear as the people going out smoking from the restaurant, because the restaurant's been closed. So you can take from it what you want, but I don't know if the bench is attracting people or it's not. But this is it could be anyone on the street. It doesn't really mean it's people coming from the restaurant. But it's late night where people are going and they're smoking, not even smoking, just hanging out. And, you know, I understand it's been there for a long time. I really don't know how I'm going to go on this issue. But we do have someone living next door and, you know, quiet enjoyment of their property. That's why I brought up the suggestion of maybe moving it in, taking it out. I don't know if that would work or it wouldn't. I spoke to the owners and they don't think that's a viable solution. Maybe we can have the police swing by a little more than they're doing now. I'm just trying to throw things out there. I do realize it's been there for a long time, but this is late night. And think about it. Anytime someone's talking outside late at night, it echoes. It's a lot louder than just a little whisper. And I think we owe it to both parties to take a look into this and try to figure it out. Thanks.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Sosnowski.
Thank you, Madam President. I think we've all said the same thing. I think even in my opening statements here, that it's actually the people, not the bench. The part that is really, I want to make a matter of clarity here is we're not going to be issuing a permit per se, because then we're opening up a huge Pandora's box if we do that. What we'd be doing is just saying, yes, it's okay to do it. It's essentially granting permission. All right. I am not necessarily opposed to the bench if we can solve the problem voluntarily of the neighborhood being disrupted at the late hours. All right, and I know the Reardons very well. All right, they're good people. They run a good business. It's an establishment. As a matter of fact, we've talked multiple times on multiple subjects, all the way from the power grid lines going through Derby Street to what you can't even think about here. But they're responsible people. They've been there a long time. And I think if we give them the request, just take care of the noise, please. All right? I think that's going to go a long way. And I would be happy with that. But I just want to make sure that the quality of life in that neighborhood is respected, whether it's this particular gentleman that has concerns or any other person that has concerns. And that would go in any neighborhood. I mean, it's just a standard rule. And the other thing, Councilor McCarthy puts it, I mean, down at the VFW, we've got, what, 1 bench, 2 benches down there, I think we've got down there. And we've got benches all over the place. And the benches are a nice amenity, all right? Whether it's the patrons of the restaurant that use it or whether it's, even as the mayor has put it, people walking from the ferry into town. just wanting to take a break on their walk into town. It's a nice thing to have. I mean, and the mayor's absolutely right. And it is actually a fairly simple object here. So let's control the people, and we go from there. And if it becomes a problem that they can't be controlled, then we'll have to revisit the issue. But at this point, I think I'm going to support this at this point. Thank you.
Councilor Sosnowski, we have the report before us is there's no recommendation from the committee, so I need a recommendation. Would you make a motion?
Yes, at this point, I would move that we allow the bench to remain on Daniel Street outside the Pig's Eye Restaurant with the understanding that we would ask for a voluntary help to move the people along after hours, especially when it comes, not waiting until there's a noise problem, but waiting, just telling the patrons, hey, look, you want to be able to come here without being harassed, you got to move on. It's time to go. All right, and that's what I would ask. All right, and toward that end, I'd make that motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Councilor Terrell. Councilor, did you have a comment? Sorry about that. I thought I had muted that. Councilor Sargent, did you have? No. Did I see another hand? Councilor Fury? None? Councilor Ryan?
I was just thinking, like, maybe the restaurant could put a sign up, just talking about please respect the neighborhood or something. It's not a bench issue, it's just people need to be reminded that to keep it down, or it's not the bench issue. I think it's just the people issue.
Okay, thank you. There being any further discussion? There being none, so the motion before us is to allow the bench to remain, but to ask the owners of the establishment to ask their patrons just be quiet, and then, perhaps a sign that they could, once the restaurant's closed, that they could move along. And I know the police will be following this as well, just to move them along. I would agree. I think a bench is a nice amenity along Derby Street, but we can't disturb the neighbors that live in the area either. So I think we can peacefully coexist, and it's been there for a long time. So, any further discussion? There being none? All those in favor? Opposed? So voted.
Opposed.
Councilor O'Keefe wishes to be recorded as opposed. Councilor Sosnowski.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we return to the normal portion of the meeting at this point.
Thank you. There being no objection, we will return to the normal portion of the meeting. Under hearings,
We have an order held from the last meeting from National Grid to install a conduit on Chestnut Street.
is there anyone in the chamber appearing in favor of the petition? If you would please step forward to the podium. And hold on, we'll just have the petitioner first. Thank you, Pam. And cite your name and address for the record.
Sabita Mahabir for National Grid, 44 River Street, Beverly, Massachusetts.
Thank you.
This is for the installation of conduit and a handhold to bring service back to the building at 9 Chestnut.
Thank you. Any questions from the councilors for the petitioner? There being none, thank you very much. Is there anyone else in the chamber appearing in favor of the petition? If you would mind stepping forward and cite your name and address for the record.
Pamela Jendrysik. I'm 3 Hamilton Street, Salem. I represent Hamilton Hall, and we are the ones who need the electrical service. We are 100 amp now. We need to go to 400 amp to service the hall and move forward. And we have been working on this project for a very long time, and finally have the price and are hoping that it can go forward and it can get done before the end of October, when I understand they might not open the roads.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. Is there anyone else in the chamber in favor of the petition? If you would please step forward. There being none, is there anyone in the chamber opposed to the petition? Would you please step forward? There being none. Councilor Sosnowski.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the hearing be closed.
Councilor Sosnowski moves that the hearing be closed. All those in favor, opposed, so voted. Councilor Sosnowski.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the petition be granted.
Any discussion?
Under discussion, yeah, I just want to reiterate what Pam Jendrysik has just said here. This is Hamilton Hall. This is being done for. This is a historic masterpiece in Salem, if you've been into the hall. I mean, and there's no better way to put it than to say exactly that. It's a masterpiece. It's one of our treasures, all right? Toward that end, the hall is rented out all year long In the middle of the winter, when it's cold, it needs the heat, and this is going to help get it. In the middle of the summer, when it's very, very hot and steamy, it needs the air conditioning. This is going to help it. All right, and then we can make make it a whole lot more usable as a hall and bring it back. And it's nice to have all these wonderful historic things, but when we actually get to use them, it's even better. And this is going to make that happen. And I actually ask for everybody's support with this. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor? Opposed? So voted. Further hearings.
We have an order from National Grid to install conduits on Charter Street.
Is there anyone in favor of the petition? If you would please step forward and cite your name and address for the record.
Sabita Mahabir Sheehy, 44 River Street, Beverly, Mass. This is to enable the expansion of Peabody Essex Museum.
Thank you. Do the councilors, any councilors have any questions for the petitioner? There being none? Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else in favor of the petition? If you would please step forward to the podium and cite your name and address for the record. There being none. Anyone in the chamber opposed to the petition? There being none. Councilor Sosnowski.
Councilor McCarthy.
Oh, Councilor McCarthy, sorry.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the hearing be closed.
Councilor McCarthy moves the hearing be closed. All those in favor opposed so voted. Councilor McCarthy.
I further move that this petition be granted.
Any discussion?
This is just the first part of a big, long, lengthy project that the PBS Essex Museum will be undertaking, and this is probably the first of many such requests that are going to come in front of us. And I know I was unable to go to the meeting the other night where they laid out some of their plans. I've talked to some of my colleagues that were there. It's a very exciting and ambitious plan, and I look forward to working with the PBS Essex Museum to bring this plan to fruition and hopefully get this thing built in a timely manner with as least interruption for the city as possible. And I'm excited about it, and I move for approval.
Thank you. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor? Opposed? So voted. Appointments and reappointments.
Held from the last meeting, the mayor's appointment of Barbara Schwartz to serve on the Beautification Committee with a term to expire September 1st, 2015.
Councilor Sosnowski.
Yes, is Barbara here? Okay, I just want to make sure you're here. All right, yes, I would move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Under discussion?
Thank you, Madam President. If you read the resume of Barbara Schwartz, we'd be wondering why we're not appointing her to the Health Commission. Right. However, you need to understand this woman is very highly motivated, and she's done an awful lot throughout the community. And I think I applaud the mayor. Fabulous nomination, and I think she's going to do very well. And I thoroughly endorse this, and hopefully the rest of the council will go along with it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further discussion? There being none, Madam City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councilor Carr?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor O'Keefe?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Ryan?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Siegel?
Yes.
Councilor Sosnowski?
Yes.
Councilor Turiel?
Yes.
Councilor Lovely?
Yes. Ten councilors voting, 10 in the affirmative, 1 absent. The appointment carries. Councilor Sosnowski.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I would move for suspension of the rules to allow Barbara to address the council if she so desires.
Thank you. Barbara, would you like to come up and address the council?
I'd like to say thank you very much. I am very proud to now call Salem my home, and I look forward to keeping it beautiful.
Thank you.
Welcome on board.
Further appointments and reappointments.
Held from the last meeting, the mayor's appointment of Gregory St. Louis to serve on the Conservation Commission with a term to expire September 1st, 2015.
Councilor O'Keefe?
Is Mr. St. Louis in the, thank you. I move for confirmation of Mr. St. Louis to the Conservation Commission.
Under discussion? Under discussion, Councilor?
Yes, he lives in Ward 7. That's an attribute. Plus, I don't have many people that serve on many city boards. The mayor's laughing over there, but I frequently bring up to her attention that there's very few people in the Ward 7 that are on any of these beautiful commissions and committees that we have here. And welcome, Mr. St. Louis, to that. I know you're a professional engineer, as I am, and I noticed that on your resume you'd be a wonderful addition at that end of South Salem on the Sunset Road area. You're welcome.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further discussion? There being none, Madam City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Counselor Carr?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor O'Keefe?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Ryan?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Siegel?
Yes.
Counselor Sosnowski?
Yes.
Counselor Turiel?
Yes.
Counselor Lovely?
Yes. 10 councilors voting, 10 in the affirmative, 1 absent. The appointment carries. Counselor O'Keefe.
I move for suspension of the rules to allow Mr. St. Louis to perhaps speak if he has anybody home looking on TV.
Mr. St. Louis?
Good evening. Thank you all for your nomination and appointment. I look forward to living in Salem for quite some time. My family just moved here as of November, so look forward to serving on the Conservation Commission and see you all in a couple years. Reappointment.
Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's appointment of Whitney Haskell to serve as the City of Salem's purchasing agent with a term to expire February 1st, 2014.
Counsel McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. At this time, I need to recuse myself.
Thank you. You are recused. Counselor O'Keefe.
Move for suspension of the rules to allow for the confirmation of Ms. Haskell.
There being no objection. Counselor O'Keefe, under discussion?
Yes, I had a long discussion with,
For confirmation by roll call vote?
yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
That's quite all right.
Confirmation by
Under
roll call.
discussion.
Remarks?
Yes.
We all, I think all members of the City Council had an opportunity to meet, hopefully, the new purchasing agent. We really need the purchasing agent to take this weight of this office off of Mr. Versailles. Mr. Versailles is beside himself with all of the other money matters in the state, and especially when we're buying, as the mayor alluded to, a new aerial ladder truck, and that the city purchasing agent will be helping out on the purchase of that as one of our first priorities of the purchasing agent. So I welcome her. She lives in Marblehead, and she'll be a wonderful attribute. She's a lawyer, graduate. She went to University of Maine, and I welcome her. Plus, she was working for the state government and brings all of the expertise that we need to make sure that it's done. And we know it's always being done on the straight and narrow, but I'm welcome her to here. Wish her luck.
Thank you, Counselor. Any further discussion? Counselor Fury.
Madam President, to echo those thoughts, we're very lucky to have a professional, outstanding financial department. It's just got recently, bonding got increased. We got integrity and honesty and a great future. You're part of a great team, as I mentioned in the introduction to you by Mr. Viscay, to you. So we're lucky to have you on board, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Sosnowski.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to explain a position that I'm going to be taking. I've already talked with Ms. Haskell, and she understands where I'm going with this. I'm going to start using my mentor's approach to positions here. If you come from Salem, you're going to get a yes. If you're not from Salem, you're going to get a no. All right? And for no other reason, because she's highly qualified. I think she's going to do a great job. And reading the resume, there's no question she's qualified for the position. All right? So I think Salem is going to be well served. However, in principle, where Councilor O'Keefe is sitting for a long time, Councilor Larry used to sit there, and he used to do this, and I used to question, why did you do that, right? And then all of a sudden, it started making sense to me, and I understood why. And so I'm going to be saying no, but absolutely no reflection. She's going to be perfect for the job. It's just on the principle. Thank you.
You joined us, Madam President.
Counselor O'Keefe.
I may be sitting, and my esteemed colleagues, and he was a wonderful counselor, but I never shared his position that Salem jobs for Salem candidates, and I have always, whatever the mayor, this present mayor or former mayor, Yusevich, if there's a qualified person, they feel that that's the person, then if he comes from, or she comes from Timbuktu, that's fine with me, as long as she knows what she's doing, and the mayors have faith in her. And I don't subscribe to Salem jobs to Salem candidates, no whatsoever.
Counselor Siegel.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I think this was a wonderful hire. Looking at her resume, it's very impressive. I actually had an opportunity, I don't think Ms. Haskell realizes it, but I saw her when she was a law clerk in Lynn District Court. She did a tremendous job there, and I think it's a wonderful hire.
Thank you. Counselor Turiel.
Thank you, Madam President. I believe, after looking at her qualification, I believe Ms. Haskell will do an excellent job for the city and fill a need that we greatly have here. On the other hand, as a slight rejoinder. My hope is that eventually, as she works into her job here, she loves it so much she moves to the city and solves that problem that way. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor O'Keefe?
Move for suspension, confirmation by roll call, ma'am.
Counselor O'Keefe has moved for confirmation by roll call vote. There being no further discussion, Madam City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Counselor Carr?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor O'Keefe?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy? Counselor Ryan?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Siegel?
Yes.
Counselor Sosnowski?
No.
Counselor Thuriel?
Yes.
Counselor Lovely?
Yes. Nine councilors voting, 8 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative, 2 absent. The matter carries. The confirmation carries. Counselor O'Keefe?
Move for unanimous consent of the city council to allow Ms. Haskell to address the council if
Being
she
no
wishes.
objection. Whitney, would you please come up and, if you'd like to address the council?
Yes, I'd just like to say thank you to Mayor Driscoll and the council for this opportunity, and I look forward to serving the citizens of Salem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Council McCarthy, you may return. Thank you. Let the record reflect that Council McCarthy has returned to the chambers. Communications from the mayor.
We have an appropriation of $5,900 from the capital outlay renovations and repairs account to be expended for the repair of water damage at the Museum Place garage due to water damage.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for suspension of the rules.
There being no objection, Council McCarthy.
I also move for adoption.
Under discussion?
On a discussion, I don't need to go into depth about the Museum Place Mall garage. That garage leaks, and we have problems with it. We've had ongoing problems with it, and I believe that this appropriation is directly related to, there's an outfit of a store in the mall itself that this leak is impairing the ongoing construction of that, because basically every time it rains, it leaks into this new space they're trying to create. So I don't think referring this into committee and having Mr. Hacker come in 2 weeks from now telling me that we need the money to fix a leak. We all know it leaks. We all know it has ongoing issues. We're trying to address them. I know that Mr. Hacker's got a bunch of new people on board trying to solve some of these water issues, and I feel it's prudent that we move this forward tonight and allow this money to be appropriated so this can get done.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Sosnowski.
Thank you, Madam President. Yeah, I absolutely support the good council across the aisle here. The last rainstorm we had, I think it was Joan Brennan's place, that got swamped because one of the drainage pipes that comes down through her ceiling has an elbow right there before it exits to go someplace else, and the elbow let go. And you can imagine the mess that she had in her store. The store beside her, which is Judy's store, that was flooded as well. I think 4 or 5 inches of water in there. I mean, it was a mess. And we're not even, Council McCarthy even referred to the new restaurant being built up over there where the Asaki used to be, I think it was. All right, and that was damaged as well. So I absolutely support this.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor? Opposed? So voted. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an appropriation of $2,730 from the capital outlay renovations and repair account to be expended for the repair of the Museum Place garage elevators.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for suspension of the rules.
There being no objection, Council McCarthy.
I also move for adoption.
Under discussion?
On discussion, thank you, Madam President. Once again, we all love the Museum Place Mall garage, but unfortunately, that garage has got some years on her, and she needs some help. And the leaks are one thing with regards to the aging pipes and whatnot that work for the drainage system. And this one happens to be the elevator, and as seen in the letter, if this action isn't taken, it will require a shutdown of up to 90 days. The elevator, we can't have that. We can't have people in there. This needs to be done. It needs to be addressed. It needs to be fixed for the patrons of the elevator, patrons of the Essex, where I used to represent. That somehow they didn't move, but they moved from Ward 1 to Ward 2. So now Councilor Sosnowski has them. So if everybody uses the garage, it needs to be addressed. So I would move that this without delay, that this matter be approved and that the money be appropriated to allow this renovation to occur.
Thank you. Councilor Sosnowski.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Just want to take this opportunity to very briefly say thank you to our city engineer and the building department and building inspector, because the day of the storm, which was after hours, we got a hold of them and they came down and they fixed it and they did a superb job. And I can't say enough about them, and I thank them very much.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor? Opposed? So voted. Mayor's informational page, none. Motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem City Council, September 27, 2012, order the monthly financial report dated August 34th, 2012 be referred to the Committee on Administration and Finance.
Any discussion?
Briefly, Madam President, this is as housekeeping. We refer all these financial reports to the committee, so therefore, if there's if we need to review them or if there's any questions about anything in a report, we keep them in committee and then we discharge them at the end of the year. So I move to refer to committee.
Thank you. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor? Opposed? So voted. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor O'Keefe.
Thank you, Madam President. Members of the City Council, I'm introducing an order regarding a stop sign in Ward 7. City of Salem, in the year 2012, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, Chapter 42, Section 49, quotes, obedience to isolated stop sign, quotes, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Monroe Road at the intersection from Loring Avenue, obedience to isolated stop signs. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by the City Charter.
Under discussion?
Yes, Madam President, members of the council, this order has been approved by Lieutenant Robert Pazuski. And if you've been over on Loring Avenue any morning, from a period of Lincoln Road to Jefferson Avenue, it is one awful mess of automobiles and what have you. And people coming into Salem around Dead Man's Curve, go into Lincoln, go down Cleveland, and come out Cleveland Extension and Monroe to beat the traffic at two signals. There's a signal at Harrison Road, and there's a signal at Raymond Road. So we were there when Lieutenant and myself were there the day we saw these people whizzing right through the stop sign. So this will be next to the solitarium that you see there on Monroe at Loring, isolated stop sign, stopping the cars from immediately whizzing out into an inbound direction on Loring Avenue. I respectfully request the council approve this order.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor O'Keefe moves for adoption for first passage. All those in favor? Opposed? So voted. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor O'Keefe.
Thank you, Madam President. Members of the City Council, another order regarding Loring Avenue and the residential or presidential area, so-called, all the streets down in that particular named after presidents. City of Salem, in the year 2012, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, Chapter 42, Section 75. Parking prohibited tow zone residential sticker. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Monroe Road, easterly side, starting at a point across from number 30 Monroe Road, continuing to a point 111 feet from Loring Avenue, resident sticker parking tow zone. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by the City Council.
Under discussion?
Madam President, thank you. Members of the council, it's been approved by Lieutenant Robert Pazuski. Again, a problem in the presidential area, specifically with students at Salem State College who park on Monroe Road and constantly, as you know, college students, freshmen, cannot have cars their first year on the campus. They cannot register their cars, get a sticker at Salem State. So consequently, most of the cars are on our side streets, and in my particular ward, they're on Monroe every day, and they evidently climb the fence to go into the campus. So this is just something that Lieutenant Pazuski and myself and the neighbors, we have a petition, you have received a petition from all the neighbors asking this be done, and I respectfully request you support this application for resident parking on the side, on one side of Monroe from Loring right down to number 30, almost to where the road goes across to the ball field. There's going to be a part of that road for people to come to the playground. They'll be able to park and to take the children over to the new Pickman Park playground. So there is an area that people that are not residents that come from other parts of Salem can park there and use the facilities as new park. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further discussion? There being none, on Councilor O'Keefe's motion for, move adoption for first passage, all those in favor, opposed, so voted.
Thank you.
Any further motions, orders, and resolutions? Councilor McCarthy?
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem in the year 2012, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, Chapter 42, Section 11, zones established tour bus parking, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, repeal Derby Street northerly side beginning 20 feet from the intersection of Liberty Street and extending a distance of 50 feet in a westerly direction, tour bus parking, tow zone. Section 2, this ordinance shall take place as effect by the city charter.
Any discussion?
Briefly, this has been an issue that's been going on for a while, and then there's a second one that's kind of a follow-up. It kind of sneaks up on us every year right around Halloween, and what happens is the tour buses are so big now. And there's basically 2 to 3 spots right on Derby Street, right below where the old cemetery is, right by the Wax Museum. And what happens is they pile up in this tour bus designated area, they back right up to the crosswalk, literally within inches of the crosswalk, so that anybody in Liberty Street around Halloween becomes very congested and busy. A lot of people are going back and forth across Derby Street. You can't see a thing. These tour buses are huge. Last year, we did a similar thing, which is going to come up next, to try to prevent that. So what we're going to do is we're going to, this is the long-term solution, of which I've talked, Lieutenant Przewski has other recommendations. We're going to refer that to committee, and then I'm going to bring in my second order, which is for a 60-day trial period to eliminate the spot so we can get it eliminated for Halloween this upcoming season, because it is a pedestrian nightmare with regard to these tour buses. And the lieutenant doesn't want to move the spaces down to have I could go into depth, cars behind tour buses, so that the buses have to, if there's a car in a car, the bus has to kind of parallel park in there. He doesn't think it's a good idea, which goes to the bigger question for what I just read, but the short-term solution is what I'm going to read next. So my is to refer this to Committee on Legislative Legal Affairs, co-posted to Committee of the Whole.
Okay, thank you. And since it's not posted on tonight's agenda, we can't discuss it, so it'll go to committee. All those in favor, opposed, so voted. Council McCarthy?
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem City Council, September 27, 2012, ordered that the Derby Street northerly side at the intersection of Liberty Street by extending 50 feet in a westerly direction, no parking tow zone trial period for 60 days. Under discussion? Just what I just said. The lieutenant, it kind of snuck up on us. I've had ongoing discussions with Destination Salem and everyone downtown about the bus parking downtown. It's an ongoing debate about how much, where it needs to be, but with talking with Lieutenant Przewski, these spaces in particular, I mean, obviously there's a safety issue with regard to the sidewalk and the crosswalk, and then there's going to be another issue is going to be you can't, in his estimation, you can't have tour bus parking sandwiched between 2 parking cars parked, because then you're making the tour buses parallel park. So his recommendation long-term is probably going to have those spots removed, which will come up in committee. Short-term, which we'll take up in committee as well, is just to do a trial period of 60 days to eliminate basically the last spot of the first spot, whichever way you want to look at it, so that no cars or buses can park in there. That way, there'll be a free flow of pedestrian traffic during the month of Halloween.
You're looking to refer this matter to committee?
Refer it to the matter of Committee of Legislative Legal Affairs.
Thank you. We can't discuss it. It's not on the agenda. The matter will be referred to committee. All those in favor? Opposed? So voted. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Sosnowski.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem and City Council, September 27, 2012, ordered that the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, meet to discuss recent changes to the traffic ordinances relative to parking, and that the following be invited: Lynn Duncan, City Planner; Tom Daniels; Richard Fiscay, Finance Director; Jim Hacker, Parking Director.
Under discussion?
Thank you, Madam President. Yeah, we just had them in, and then more things are erupting relative to plan. And just so you know, we're not tearing the plan apart, right? But there are some actions that are absolutely illegal, all right, that we've been made aware of from the police department that need to be changed right away. Plus, we're also going to be talking about the possibility of turning back the hours from 8 o'clock at night back to 6 o'clock at night. And the other part, there's also another ordinance where they've put parking meters where we have an ordinance that says there's supposed to be a service zone. All right, and I have a letter from a gentleman. I'm not going to read it into the record tonight, but basically, we've lost a major tenant in the city based on those actions. So we'll discuss that at the proper time. So I need to bring him back, unfortunately, and we'll see where we go.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Council Sosnowski's motion to move the matter to the Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs. All those in favor? Opposed? So voted. Further motions, orders, and resolutions? Councilor O'Keefe, would you assume the chair?
Yes, ma'am. Recognize Councilor Joan B. Lovely. Councilor at Large.
Thank you, Councilor.
Councilor Lovely?
Point of personal privilege, Councilor O'Keefe.
No object?
Mr. President.
Hearing none? Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Thank you. I actually have a letter here that was supposed to be read into the record at the last meeting. I was not here at that meeting. It is from Councilor Prevey, and I'd like to read it tonight. Action has already been taken relative to what he's wanted us to read, but I did promise him that I would read it, and I'd like to do so. Madam President and members of the Council, I am away on business and unable to attend this evening's Council meeting. However, I did want to address the request by our Police Department to accept the donation of $44,500, which was raised through the efforts of our volunteer group, Project K9. The Mac Park Neighborhood Association, the Salem Moose, Salem Lions Club, and other members of the community all joined together in volunteering their time and effort toward this amazing fundraising effort. Each week, Project K9 met at the Moose Hall to plan and coordinate our collective fundraising activities. I was very humbled and honored to be asked to serve as the treasurer of this project. From the start, our goal was to raise $30,000. However, as the council will notice, we raised well above that amount. The generosity of so many businesses and individuals within Salem and from neighboring communities was truly an inspiring thing to witness. It became very clear from the start that the entire community in Salem believed in the idea of the creation of a K-9 unit for the Salem Police Department. I know by the police now having this wonderful resource, our policing efforts will be taken to a new level, and with that, the residents of Salem will benefit from the K-9 unit's service. I want to thank Rosemary O'Connor for leading the Project K-9 committee, as well as all of the volunteers who gave so much of their time and effort with such generous spirit. It is through their hard work and dedication that Salem K-9 has become a reality. Lastly, I want to thank the many businesses and residents who, through their generosity, helped get well beyond our fundraising goal. With that, Madam President, I would request that all of my colleagues support the acceptance of this donation on behalf of the Salem Police Department and on behalf of the entire community. Respectfully, Paul C. Prevey, Councilor, Ward 6.
Remarks, Councilor Lovely?
Thank you, Councilor. So this $44,500 donation was actually accepted at the last meeting, but we do have Rosemary O'Connor in the chamber with us this evening. And I had the pleasure and honor of attending the dinner last Saturday night, accepting the donation, not accepting, but the donation on behalf of the city. The police department was there. Chief Tucker and Captain Gilligan did a wonderful job at this event, and Rosemary was there as well and did an amazing job. It was very nicely attended, and we had three special guests at the end of the evening. The police dogs themselves actually came in to the Waterfront Hotel right into the event, and we got to meet the dogs, and they are just absolutely stunning. And we are so fortunate to have Rosemary O'Connor, who really led this effort with the Mac Park Neighborhood Association, the Salem Moose, the Lions Club, and everyone that donated. It's going to be an amazing addition to our city, to our policing. And I'm very proud that I was able to be a part of that evening that night. And Mr. President, if we could allow suspension of the rules, I'd love to have Rosemary come up and address
You
the
so
council.
move, ma'am. Any objections, suspension of the rules? Hearing none. Rosemary O'Connor, President, Mac Park Association, would you step to the rostrum?
Thank you. It's been a wonderful experience, full support of so many people in the city. At last count, we were up to 53,000, which is just amazing. We thought we'd never make the 30,000, and now 3 dogs, and they're going to be Grand Marshal of the Halloween Parade, so everybody can see them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rosemary.
Very exciting. Any further motions, orders, and resolutions? There being none, committee reports. Council Sosnowski.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem and City Council, September 27, 2012. The Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, to whom was referred the matter of granting certain licenses, has considered said matter and would recommend approval.
On acceptance of the committee report, all those in favor, opposed, so voted. On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion?
Thank you, Madam President. Basically, this doesn't really require that much discussion. It's pretty straightforward. It's
Thank you. Any further
Standard fare.
discussion? Thank you, Counselor. There being none, all those in favor, opposed, so voted. Further committee reports, Council Sosnowski.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem and City Council, September 27, 2012. The Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, to whom was referred the matter of regarding granting a variance for hours for a tour business called Paranormal Salem, has considered said matter and would recommend the extended hours to 11:30 p.m. each night for a trial period beginning now until May 1st be approved.
Thank you. On acceptance of the committee report, all those in favor, opposed, so voted. On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion?
Thank you, Madam President. Basically, we had the city solicitor come in with us because this is a unique situation. We have public guides, and public guides have laws that say they cannot go past 11 o'clock at night. Right? And this particular business functions starts essentially at I think it starts a little bit before that, but it certainly goes past that time. All right, and when we were going through the discussions, we actually made a determination, and there was a legal ruling on this from our city solicitor, that paranormal tours doesn't even fall under the guideline of public guides because of what they do. They're pretty much I guess the best way to put it would be they teach the use of paranormal investigation. All right, they're not going around and saying this is a historic site here, this is a historic site here. Although they do visit a couple of places. But the concerns we had for limiting the hours on the tour guides don't apply here. They have their own place. They go to this place, which is on Church Street, the old firehouse, I believe it is. And then they finish up their lesson, I guess you would call it. And they're really not in violation of any ordinance that we can think of at this point. And this is why it's a trial period, because if they happen to become a problem, then we can bring them back in. But at this point in time, the committee was basically voting, suggesting that they be approved, because they fall under a real special area here that's in between all the rules.
Thank you, Counselor. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor, opposed, so voted. Further committee reports, Council Sosnowski.
Thank you, Madam President. We did the Daniel Street one, right? Yes, we did. Okay. City of Salem and City of Salem and City Council, September 27, 2012. The Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of repealing monthly zones on Congress Street, Gedney Street, Norman Street, Dodge Street, and Holyoke Square, has considered said matter and would recommend that the ordinance amending an ordinance relative to traffic, Chapter 42, Section 57C, parking time limited monthly zones, repealing Congress Street, be repealed for Congress Street and be passed for second and final passage, and that the other 4 streets remain in committee.
On acceptance of the committee report, all those in favor, opposed, so voted. On adoption of the recommendation, Council Sosnowski.
Thank you, Madam President. Basically, what we've done here is we want to repeal this, and I should at this point read the actual order for repealing it, all right, before I continue it at this point.
Go ahead.
The City of Salem in the year 2012, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, Chapter 42, Section 57C, parking time limited, monthly pass, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, repeal Congress Street from Section 57C, parking time limited, monthly pass. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by city charter. So, under discussion, Madam President, this was quite the lively conversation because we are trying desperately not to interfere with the trial period of the overall plan. However, there are component pieces of this that are just obviously not working. And before I continue on that particular section, going to the other streets, what I'm going to do is I'm going to yield the floor to Councilor McCarthy, because Councilor McCarthy actually represents Congress Street here, and he can best explain why the request for a repeal is coming in for Congress Street. And I would let Councilor McCarthy answer that one.
Councilor McCarthy?
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Councilor Sosnowski. Basically, I brought this in because I recognize the need to repeal this zone because, and it's not because, as Councilor Sosnowski stated, I don't think anybody in this room has the intention of start to nitpick or tear the comprehensive parking plan apart. But specifically with regards to this one street, if you drove down the street today, as I did, there's approximately 20 spots open on the street. And the reason why they're open on the street is because part of the plan was to create this zone, but no one in that area has bought into the zone. And what's happened is the garage is 25 cents an hour, so people decide, okay, I'm going to park in the garage for 25 cents an hour. Or people who used to park on the bridge have now, which is now great, it's, someone described it as the marshmallow effect. You squeeze the marshmallow one way and it pops out the other side. Well, what's happened is we created this zone. The people who used to park there now are ending up on Ward Street, Peabody Street. Now I have the people who live on those streets saying during the day, during business hours, Monday through Friday, it isn't a problem at night nor on the weekends, but during the day, during business hours, lo and behold, people are parking on the streets. So people aren't willing to pay the $25 to park on the Congress Street Bridge. They're going farther up Congress Street, or they're going on to Ward and Peabody, which is as causing the ripple effect or the marshmallow effect, or however you want to determine it. Basically, it's not working. And I have the belief that the plan will work with regard to the other zones. With respect to Raleigh Plaza, I think that zone's really working. I think that's a great alternative. I think it needs to be tweaked. We talked about that in committee a little bit. But specifically with this one area, and I know I got a whole bunch of emails from a whole bunch of people telling me, urging me, please, Counselor, do the right thing. I am doing the right thing. Because it isn't something I just drove down there yesterday and looked at. This is something I've been looking at and been monitoring for the last 3 months during implementation. It doesn't work there. I know there's a whole bunch of other things that don't work, but with Halloween coming around the corner, I brought this in 2 weeks ago, and thanks to the city clerk, we were able to get it done right to make sure that we got it in, got it out, and now we're bringing it back up for second passage so we can repeal these things, so we can cover these signs, because we all know what's coming next month, and to have 20 to 30 parking spaces be unavailable for anybody to park, because for the month of October, we only sold 2 zone passes, which would mean Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., no one would be parked in those spots. I think that would be a big mistake, and that's why I brought it forward. With respect, I know that we had lively discussion with zone 1 or 2, whichever zone Raleigh Plaza is in with all the other side streets. There's been some ongoing discussion with that I think we're going to take up. At the next council meeting, I'm going to bring in an order relative to, because I've also had some conversations with Lieutenant Przewski and other people about Congress Street, what's going to be done with it afterwards with regards to the bridge. The potential A is to move some tour bus parking, more tour bus parking on the bridge, potentially. And B, it's been a long time coming. I want to eliminate a couple of metered spots between the bank and the traffic light and put a turn lane in. So I want to move those metered spots back onto the bridge, closer to Shetland, eliminate a few spots so we get a turn lane to relieve some of that congestion, because when Shetland lets out, if the first person in line is trying to take a left to go onto Derby Street, no one can go straight up Hawthorne Boulevard, or no one can take a right, because there's no way for anyone to get around the car that's been hung up trying to take a left. So that's long term, but we'll deal with that. But I would hopefully we get approved tonight, and when it comes up for second passage, so that these spots can be freed up for the month of October. And I'll yield it back to the good Ward 2 Council for the rest of it.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Sosnowski.
Thank you, Madam President. Great explanation. Fabulous explanation. All right, the other 4 streets that were in question here on that one particular council order, let me start it this way. Some of the premise to the entire purpose of going over this entire comprehensive parking plan was actually another one of Ward 1's areas, Hawthorne Boulevard. On Hawthorne Boulevard, I believe it was from Essex down to Derby, there were 7 different categories of parking in that one stretch of road. I go over here to these 4 streets, and they comprise basically 2 blocks, and they're small blocks, and I have at least 7 different parking zones in here. And the good at-large Councilor Sargent has shown me pictures that he's taken, live pictures, where, again, it's a similar situation. We have zone parking, and one car is there. Maybe another car is not there. Then we have restricted parking because it's all your private property. How that ever happened, I'll never know how we ever did that. But I know how that happened, but I mean, in hindsight, I don't think I'd ever would have voted for that. But the other part is, I've got a 15-minute zone, I got a 30-minute zone, I got a 4-hour meter zone, I got meters on some spots, I've got resident sticker on other spots. And relative to resident sticker, it's absolutely crazy. Council, you were in one of these particular spots there on Pratt Street, where I was actually copying some of your recommendations, and you were the Ward 3 councilor at the time. It's a very huge, confused mess. Toward that end, I've asked everybody to just sit tight until I kind of analyze what's going on a little bit better. One of the things that I do not need to be analyzing, and I am absolutely against, is any kind of zoning restrictions in front of a residential home. And there are a bunch of them in this area. And for us to go out and put a meter, it's like me going to your house and putting a meter in front of your house. How ridiculous can that get? And for those people that want me not to touch this plan, I'm trying not to touch it, but when you put a meter in front of someone's house, that's it. You've drawn the line in the sand. I'm getting that out of you. All right? It's going to stop. So, I mean, we're working toward that end. Councilor Sargent has been very instrumental in helping me with this. Councilor Siegel has done very well as well. I mean, I'm getting all kinds of support trying to understand the mechanics of the area. Until I get a full comprehension, I don't want to make any corrections yet because I don't want my corrections to be worse than what I'm trying to fix. So toward that end, that's why we've pulled it out. It's going to remain in committee, and that'll be some of the subjects that we bring up when we get to it. Very complicated. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Councilor Carr.
Thank you, Madam President. Just a couple points of feedback. I certainly agree with a lot of the points Councilor McCarthy has made, and also Councilor Sosnowski. But I guess my frustration a little bit is I'm looking for comprehensive feedback from the city, from the planning department, on the implementation of the comprehensive parking plan. So the plan was implemented 1 July. We're now towards the end of September. I know there was a motion earlier tonight to schedule a meeting with the planning department. My expectation is that they would have been driving a meeting, getting ready for that type of a meeting where they would present data to us, what's working, what's not working. When this plan was initially voted on by this committee last year, there was concerns that I had with the plan. As a new councilor coming on board, the reason I didn't bring those concerns forward to date was the agreed upon trial period. So it was a 3-month trial period that was supposed to occur that we're coming towards the end. I have not heard I've not seen any data yet of what's working, what's not. Like Councilor Sosnowski, like Councilor McCarthy, I have certain concerns of things that I don't think is working. I was never a fan of the extension to the 8 o'clock time frame. But the way that I would like to see things occur is that we have this meeting. We have an opportunity individually as councilors to raise the concerns that we've heard from constituents, have each other, and get feedback from the professionals and see what their opinion is. And we may choose to disagree or agree. And I think that's the time that we should be moving forward with changes. With all due respect, I think we are making, with what's in front of us tonight and what we're proposing, we are making piecemeal changes. And I just think that we probably should have already received data. We have not, so let's get it and let's move forward from there. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I was at the meeting on Monday with Ordinances, Licenses, Legal Affairs Committee, and representatives of the Park Department and the Planning Department. Let me say, we went into this initially on Monday with the intent that we were going to potentially make more changes than we wound up agreeing to do at that meeting. I know my own proposal was changed, and that was something that worked for the. We had one business owner there on the affected area, and he didn't have an issue with that change at that point. I was fine with it. We wound up separating out the zones that did not appear to be working and just addressing the most obvious example right away. We did get a commitment from the parking department and from the planning department to work with us in trying to figure out and trying to get us data as this. But one thing I will say is my understanding as we went into this period was that we'd be getting regular data and feedback from the planning department as to how things are working. And as Councilor Carr pointed out, we haven't seen any of that so far. The first data that we received was partial data on the metered spaces on Lafayette Street, and we had only had partial data ready for us the evening of that meeting. And that's somewhat disappointing that we haven't gotten the data that would have helped us be better prepared to start taking hard looks at this. As it is, we can only really make small changes at the margins of it at this point in time. And I don't think beyond what we have here tonight, I don't think I'd be inclined to see any other changes for a while, at least until after the Halloween season is over. We've dealt with the rush of people into the city, and then we can step back, take a look, what did work, what didn't work, hopefully have good data from our planning department that we can use to reliably act upon and proceed from there. But right now I just want to express that I have some disappointment that we didn't get more data during the course of the summer, during the last 3 months that this plan has mainly been in effect. So that, that is a concern, but as it is, all we can do really right now is solve the most immediate and egregious problems and look into moving into more stuff, hopefully with enough data to make informed decisions later. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Sosnowski?
Thank you, Madam President. The next committee report is going to back up a lot of what Councilor Terrell has just spoke about, right? But I need to remind everybody, we've been kind of sitting here grinding our teeth waiting for the 90 days to expire. Well, the 90 days expires in 3 days. We're day 87 into this project. However, as was explained to us by the planning department on Monday's meeting, some of this was a little late in getting implemented, so they've asked us to wait another 30 days until November 1st instead of October 1st. And again, I'm okay with that at the moment, except for residents. It's like, again, I don't want to put this on any particular person, but if I told you you can't park in front of your house until November 1st, that wouldn't go over very big. All right, so there's a lot of statement. I mean, and we'll get into that in the next committee report.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Madam President. I think if we were an unreasonable group, the plan wouldn't have passed in the first place. At least half of us had strong concerns about it, and some considered voting against it. And the debate and my argument was, regardless of the little things that you don't like, let's try it, so we can see what works and what doesn't, instead of taking something out before we put the plan in and never knowing if it would have worked. We can now know in our hearts that everything they wanted to implement we did for a certain amount of time. And now, with feedback from the people, we're deciding what works and what doesn't. The good Councilor McCarthy didn't wake up one day and look at Congress Street Bridge and say, let's take the pass system away from there. He got feedback from people. I've been on that place. Before he even showed concerns about it, I was there probably once a week going on the mahi-mahi with my family and walking across that bridge and seeing what's parked there. And I probably have 4 or 5 different days of pictures with 2, 3, 4 cars parked on that bridge, and it probably holds 30 cars. So when you look at the mandate of the plan to create more open spaces, we have to assume that wasn't to keep them open. It was to fill them and for people coming and going. Now, if we're not filling them, we have to find out why. We like to give preference to people from Salem, but whether you're from New Jersey or Salem, if you ride by 6 open spaces looking for a space, and you can't park in that because you're forbidden, you don't have a pass, that doesn't make sense as far as leaving those spaces open. And to the point where we've gotten emails from people who saw those spaces open, read the signs, didn't want to get ticketed, and went out to eat in a different city. Now, we didn't create a more vibrant downtown by making all these extra restaurant licenses and petitions to the state government to help us do that. To have people leave in Salem to go someplace else to shop because they're not happy with the parking. So good government is supposed to react to what's happening and what people are telling them and go out and see and confirm that. And I think we've been doing that. And when it's all said and done, we might only change 5 or 10% of it. Now, what plan in the world, whether it's from the federal government, state, or city government, is 100% right? And this plan may not be either, but at least we'll have seen what worked, and we can react slowly as we are now to make some corrections. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Fury.
Madam President, fellow councilors, I'm opposed to any unilateral action. Tonight's meeting, or next couple of meetings that we're having, in piecemealing a very comprehensive parking program. 20 years ago, Salem was a ghost town. Not any of us are born with a parking spot in front of our houses, not any citizen, not any business. Slow demise of larger shopping centers and movie complexes to people wanting to shop and live in local communities like Salem. We are very fortunate to have a thriving downtown. Our local areas, our local towns, metropolitan towns surrounding us, like Danvers, has a thriving downtown with easy access with 128. Beverly with a pending garage to the transportation and a booming residential market to the downtown Beverly. Peabody is reconstructing traffic flow in downtown area. Lynn is now augmenting its Lynn City Auditorium for tourist attractions with multiple concerts to encourage life in downtown. So I sincerely believe that tourists and shoppers and employers have to be smarter being in Salem. Personally, as an employee of a downtown establishment, the Peabody Essex Museum, and as a frequent shopper and diner, one has to be smart where to park. This comprehensive parking study has had a lot of input before it was approved. I believe we should give it a full chance, a chance to succeed. By approving these changes tonight, we will open up a kettle of worms and a Pandora's box for each and every meeting in October. The main idea was to free up spots so more people can shop, dine, and work in downtown area. And I think we need to give it a chance. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor O'Keefe.
Madam President, members of the City Council, I vehemently disagree with Councilor Fury that we should not do nothing and let this thing ride on. No. The other night we heard from the Planning Department, and I specifically asked Mr. Daniel, Tom Daniel, for his statistics, and he had a whole sheaf of documents, and I said, what are these results on Saturday? He said, we don't do it. We don't make a survey on Saturday. To make a survey on Friday. I stand to be corrected, but he's telling us that we only do 3 days a week. Well, how can you run a program downtown Salem on a Saturday when most people are off, or going downtown to shop or get haircuts or get their shoes fixed or whatever, go to optometrists? It's Saturday. My grandchildren always pestering me on Saturday to go someplace downtown. So I think we should tweak it. These people need attention, and let's tweak it. And then, as you know, I voted against this plan when it was adopted. I was one of the minority votes against this plan. I didn't think it was going to work. I'm not saying I was right. No, we're going to make it right. And by doing these little incremental tweakings that Councilor Sosnowski is advancing and Councilor McCarthy is advancing, I think is good for the government, good for the citizens of Salem, and I support it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Ryan.
Thank you, Madam President. Last year, as we were running this, as Council President, I ran the committee of the whole meetings, and I wanted to give this plan a chance because I think it's going to work. I like it for the most part, but you keep talking about professionals. I think the professionals are the people, the residents and the business owners that are downtown all the time, and there's stuff that's not going to work, stuff that we're tweaking now. The planning board should have bringing us information, the 90-day trial period. We should have had more information that should have kept us up to date. There's been issues from day one when we held back. I mean, it's a Ward 1, Ward 3, but I go downtown to change my parking habits, but I adjusted, and I think that these changes need to be made. I mean, we're not ripping apart a whole plan, we're making small changes that are glaring out like a sore thumb that need to be addressed. I can't wait. And I applaud Councilor Sosnowski and McCarthy and Councilor Sargent. I mean, going out and doing the research. There's people that are out there every day using this thing. My father had his business in downtown Salem. I mean, his whole life, he lived around the corner on Summer Street. He was on Essex Street, and I remember going to the meters. It was totally different, and I can't imagine what it would be like now if he was still practicing down there. I mean, he'd probably be walking to work and not driving his car, but the patients and stuff, I mean, you have Banville, there's all these businesses that are suffering because of this plan. The 4-hour meters don't work in some areas. They work fine in other areas. I mean, but just like Councilor Carr said, I thought we were going to get more information because it's a work in progress. Things are always changing. I think some of these things are like a glaring that need to be changed right away. Other ones, we can sit back and watch it. But I'm glad that you guys are on top of it, and I think that ultimately it's going to work out. So, thank you.
Move the question.
Any further discussion? Councilor O'Keefe, would you assume the chair?
Recognize Councilor Joan Lovely. Councilor Lovely.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll just be brief. I did represent the area as a ward councilor of Gedney Street, and I actually, as a result of the Steve's Market, the change that we had made really right away, I went in and I've spoken to all those businesses along there, and they're complaining that they now don't have enough space for their customers to come. So I do want to see the data and see how it supports and see what's going on with that permit parking. Like Councilor Sargent, I took pictures of them, because it's not full. All those permits aren't being sold for that area. So there's empty spaces that are sitting there every day that could be used by the customers that are right around the corner. So I do look forward to the data and to see what's happening. I think with the Congress Street Bridge, same thing. Two spaces have been sold for this month, I believe. And so 28 spaces sit empty. And that's just crazy with all those restaurants and businesses, and you know, we need more parking there for our residents and our tourists to be able to park nearby and patronize those businesses. So I'm in favor of repealing this. I've actually spoken with the mayor about it as well, and it didn't seem like too much to repeal this particular, the Congress Street only. But we do need to take a look at the rest of the plan. I just patronized a business on Saturday afternoon, and when I went in, the owner of that business said, you know, now there's 4-hour parking in front of the business, those particular businesses, and she said, gee, you know, can I just talk to you about the parking issue, because now the employees across the street now park in front of her business for 4 hours. They just fill up the meter because they just don't, that's fine. She said, so now I've got more employees parking in front of my business all day long because they don't mind paying extra. I said, okay, we'll take a look. So I do look forward to the data and, you know, being able to make appropriate changes. We do not want to tear this apart. You know, there was a committee that worked very hard on this. We worked very hard on it, getting it implemented, but I think it now needs some tweaking in areas but I think the data will support how those changes need to be made. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President.
Any further discussion? Councilor Siegel?
That's the next committee report.
Yes. Oh, you're going to do that?
Yeah, you can talk.
Okay, thank you, Madam President. Just want to make sure we weren't doing the same thing. I just want to touch briefly on the data. And I'm deeply concerned about the data and what it's not going to reveal, but what it's not going to reveal. We had the parking department in to a COLA meeting. We had the planning board, and I'm not sure I have this 100% right, but I believe they only go out on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays for a couple hours a day. Thursday's the only night they go out, but it's just a couple hours a day. So I don't think we're going to get an adequate result of what we're going to see. And I think, you know, we spent a lot of money on this program. I have no problem giving it an opportunity in certain places. But I think we also need to give the resources to see if it works. The resources that they're given now is not adequate. We're not going to get the true results from going a couple hours a week. And I just think we need to address that with who's ever going out there.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll echo Councilor O'Keefe, so I'm going to move the question after this. But with respect to the data, Tom Daniels is, when he was, I can't tell you how many presentations we all saw, and if you went to an individual, you know, neighborhood group or whatever, and he came in and talked about it, he's got the data. Now, with regards to how the data is collected and where it's collected and how it's collected, what they did was the times and dates that they're going out, I think it's Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, or whatever day, or maybe Fridays, whatever days they're going out, the days they're going out is mirroring the days that the consultant went out and took the raw data to begin with. So that's the reason why they picked the days they did. The consultant didn't collect data on a Saturday. Our interns and our staff don't work on Saturdays, so whatever days they collected the data, the planning department is using those days to mirror it, so that you're comparing apples to apples as opposed to, I would, maybe at one point we can find some way to get some extra money so they can send a consultant or somebody or an intern or somebody from the planning department to go out and take some data on a Saturday just to see what it looks like. But I think the data will bear some stuff out, but going back to what's in front of us, I've talked to Mr. Hacker, ever since we implemented this plan, I try to talk to Mr. Hacker at least once a week. And he knows my voice now when I call. And I ask him a whole series of questions about what's going on specifically with regard to the garages, because that's a big concern of mine, and with regard to the Congress Street Bridge. And unfortunately, the zone pass on that bridge, for whatever reason, wasn't working. I don't care how much more marketing we put in place to try to market it, with all the availability right behind it of unrestricted free parking, people just decided it wasn't, I'm not going to pay $25 when I can go 150 yards down the street and park for free. So unfortunately, it didn't work. We're going to have a discussion about what will work there, and hopefully we'll get it in place. But right now, for the purposes of, if we could just move the question and get this one moving.
Move the question, Madam President.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
No further discussion. Councilor Sosnowski, would you just, we're repealing the monthly zone on Congress Street, and the matter of Gedney, Norman, Dodge, and Holyoke Square will remain in committee.
Right.
Madam President, I passed that one down to the good city clerk already. But basically, there were 5 streets, and we separated out to vote on Congress Street. The other 4 are going to remain in
We
committee.
need to, Madam City Clerk, do we need to vote on those separately?
The order was, okay, Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs, Co-Purpose Committee whole met to discuss the matter of repealing monthly zones in Congress Street, Gedney Street, Norman Street, Dodge Street, and Holyoke Square, and that the committee recommended that the ordinance amending an ordinance relative to traffic, Chapter 42, Section 57C, parking time limited monthly zones repealed. Congress Street be passed for second and final passage, and the other 4 streets remain in committee. The specific language on the ordinance itself was an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, Chapter 42, Section 57C, parking time limited, monthly pass, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, repeal Congress Street from Section 57C, parking time limited, monthly pass. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by city charter.
Thank you.
That was the motion.
Thank you. On the repeal of the monthly zones on Congress Street for second and final passage, all those in favor?
It says A
Opposed,
and
so
C
voted.
here. You mean just C, right?
Zero Fury wishes to be recorded as opposed.
That's correct.
The matter carries.
Says
On the, that the other 4 streets remain in committee, Gedney Street, Norman Street, Dodge Street, and Holyoke Square. All those in favor? Opposed, so voted. Further committee reports. Councilor Sosnowski.
Thank you, Madam President. Soon going to say Madam Senator. Hopefully.
Working towards that.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
City of Salem and City Council, September 27, 2012, the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of amending a traffic ordinance, Chapter 42, Section 56, metered spaces Lafayette Street between New Derby and Harbor Street be reduced from 4 hours to 1 hour, has considered said matter and would recommend that the attached ordinance amended be adopted for first passage. Should I read that attached amendment?
Yes, please.
Or do you want to accept the report first?
On acceptance of the committee report, all those in favor? Opposed? So voted on adoption of the recommendation. Under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. The actual, I think it was the good Councilor O'Keefe was the one that actually suggested that we put this into actual language as to, chapter this, section that. So toward that end, the actual ordinance reads this way. In the year 2012, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, Chapter 42, Section 56, parking meter zones established. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Lafayette Street, westerly side from New Derby Street and Harbor Street, not including handicap zones or restricted areas, metered zones established, delete 4-hour limit and insert in place thereof with 2-hour. I mean, actually, I'm repeating it because it's the word 2 and then the number 2, with a 2-hour time limit. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by city charter. That's the actual order before us.
Thank you. Under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, actually, Councilor Churchill, this is actually his ward now, and I'll yield the floor in a moment, but I need to let you know how this actually started here. I think a lot of us got phone calls from people. This is the actual conversation we had with the planning department that actually spurred the data to come forward. The other stuff had no supporting data other than just observations, but the actual data came forward in this particular discussion. Okay. The data down there suggested that the plan was working. However, in talking to Al, the owner of Ace Hardware, and then talking to Richard, I can't pronounce his last name, the owner of Banville Optical, they would differ with you. Now, if it's working, that means that 1 in 8 spaces is open. Well, maybe 1 in 8 spaces up the street from them is open, but there, in the case of, for example, Ace Hardware, there was a person with a truck and a trailer who would park directly in front of the hardware store for 4 hours and then feed it for another 4 hours. You know what that does to his business? According to him, he'd be out of business by October 1st if we didn't change this. Vanderbilt Optical has the same thing. As a matter of fact, they were here, the representative from Vanderbilt Optical was here that evening, and he actually didn't get into an argument with Tom Daniels, but actually disputed the numbers that Tom was saying, because in fact, not only has he seen with his own eyes what happens out in front of his own store, but he's had customers not able to make their appointments because there was an old lady who couldn't walk a long distance, and there was not that 1 in 8 spaces open. Right? At this point, before we go any further, I'm going to yield the floor to the good counselor from Ward 5. Excuse me. I'm getting confused here, Madam President. Ward 5, and I think Councilor Terrio can explain that a little bit better because it's his ward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. And I'll try and be brief because we've already been back and forth on the parking philosophy in general quite a bit tonight. And I think we've had enough of that for now. This is basically because the businesses that are being most negatively affected by the 4-hour parking limits, they're the ones that are at the end of that block. They're the ones closest to downtown. And I think those spaces in front of those particular businesses are really they're targets of opportunity for people looking for longer term parking. They're the closest possible spaces downtown. So, and those businesses in particular, they depend on a steady retail turnover. They've worked fine with the old meter system. That didn't cause problems for them. Extending the time limits to 4 hours universally throughout the city has caused problems in that stretch. That's not really part of the core downtown parking area in general, and it's really a retail-oriented block. So after discussion in the committee, with my initial proposal that it be reduced to 1 hour, we modified that with the consent of pretty much all the parties there were amenable to going to a 2-hour limit. That should be reasonable. That should also allow for use of the restaurant on the street and people who are parking for other uses and still be able to encourage quicker turnover. So we're only proposing to do this at this point on the west side of Lafayette Street, the even-numbered side. We're not talking about the odd-numbered side at this point. There's no real issues. We haven't gotten complaints on that side of problems. So we're trying to keep any changes we make at this point, we're trying to keep them as minimal as possible and as low in impact as possible. Again, with the intent that we're going to let this whole plan work itself out as best as possible and ultimately get all the supporting data necessary to see if there are other changes that will be needed down the road. But right now, this is just to solve some of the most pressing problems that we have.
Thank you, Council. Any further discussion?
Move the question, Madam President.
There being no further discussion on the motion by Councilor Sosnowski to reduce the hours from 4 hours per meter to 2 hours per meter as read in his motion. We don't need to reread it.
Thank
All
you.
those in favor? Opposed?
Opposed.
Councilor O'Keefe. Councilor O'Keefe, are you opposed? I'm sorry, who read opposed? Oh, Councilor Carr and Councilor Fury wish to be recorded opposed. The matter carries. Further committee reports. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem City Council, September 27, 2012. The Committee on Administration and Finance, to whom was referred the matter of a $35,000 appropriation to Park and Rec Golf Course renovation and repairs, has considered said matter and would recommend approval.
On acceptance of the committee report, all those in favor, opposed, so voted. On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion.
Discussion. Thank you, Madam President. The Finance Director and the committee had to kind of wade through the letter that came from the mayors and the Park and Rec Commission because we don't have a Park and Rec Director right now. So it was kind of difficult, but basically from the letter and from what Mr. Visquet was able to find out prior was that the golf course is actually doing the best it's done in years. We're having a banner year up at the golf course. I don't know if that's relative to weather or that's relative to the changes that they've made up there. They have a new superintendent. They have a new manager. They're trying to promote the golf course. They're trying to do a lot of wonderful things up there. But the fact of the matter is the doors on the shop where they keep all the equipment, vintage 1960, and they're really not working anymore. So that part of the appropriation is for 6 overhead doors, a top dressing machine, a whole bunch of electrical work, some other stuff that the manager and the caretaker of the golf course brought forth to the Park and Rec Commission. The Park and Rec Commission moved to approve to allow the transfer, and then they send it over to us. The money's available. It's needed repairs to the golf course, and upon taking everything into account, the committee recommended approval of the transfer.
Thank you. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor, opposed, so voted. Further committee reports, Counsel McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem City Council, September 27, 2012, the Committee on Administration and Finance, to whom was referred the matter of an $11,304.60 appropriation to cemetery equipment, has considered said matter and will recommend approval.
On acceptance of the committee report, all those in favor, opposed, so voted. On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. I always love when we get matters that come out to the .60 or some sort of number. It's not a round number. It's exactly. This appropriation is for the cost of a piece of equipment that they use at the cemetery. It's replacing an older piece of equipment. The piece of equipment is similar to a John Deere golf cart. It's small enough that it can make its way through all the cemetery stones, but also it's more heavy-duty version that also has the ability to have a small dump body on the back, so when they're clearing away after a burial, they can load this up because it can fit itself in there handily, and it's able to maneuver around. And Mr. Renard was in talking about the need to repair the old one, to replace the old one that they had, and this is a much newer, updated version. There's money in the account to cover it, and Mr. Viscay said there's plenty of money in the account to cover this, to allow for this appropriation, so the committee's recommendation was approval.
Thank you. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor, opposed, so voted.
I did.
Communications from city officials, none. Petitions.
We have a request from the residents of Barton Place to hold a block party on Saturday, October 20th, 2012, from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Councilor Sosnowski.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for approval.
Any discussion?
Basically, this is, I happen to know the people that are the applicants in this one. It happens to be my son. So now we're all in trouble. Council's invited, but you have to remember, you've got to be in costume.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
That won't be hard. Okay. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor, opposed, so voted. Further petitions.
We have a petition from Chabad on the North Shore to construct the Eruv.
Councilor O'Keefe.
Madam President, members of the City Council, I move, after discussing with Mr. Turgle, and Councilor Siegel was helping us, I move that this be referred to the Committee on Ordinance, Legislative, and Legal Affairs, and that they discuss the appropriate legal ramifications of this with the city solicitor and the power company, National Grid, and and Verizon.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Sosnowski.
Can we invite our city electrician as well, please?
Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry, yes. I'm sorry.
Add the city electrician to the list. Any further discussion? There being none. All those in favor, opposed, so voted. Further petitions.
We request from Salem YMCA to hold a road race on October 21st, 2012, in use of city streets.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption.
Under discussion?
This is I think it's the 5th annual road race that the YMCA is going to be running, and I wish them all the luck in the world, and I'm very happy to see approximately how much of the race proceeds will be donated to charity, 100% after expenses, so I'm happy to see that. And I would move for approval.
Thank you. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor, opposed, so voted. Further petitions.
We have a request from the Wicked Running Club to hold a road race on January 1st, 2013, in use of city streets.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for approval.
Any discussion?
I just want to comment about the Wicked Running Club and their presentation of their packet. It is, it's very professional. It's all well laid out. It's very easy to understand. This road race, for anyone who hasn't had the ability to see it, is kind of a unique road race. It happens on New Year's Day, and sometimes the people running that race, you can tell they haven't even gone to bed. But it's quite an entertaining race. It happens early, and 1 year a family friend is a member of the Wicked Running Club, and he asked us to do the water station behind my house. And we were pouring the water in the cups, the Dixie cups that you hand out to the runners. And we poured them all on the table, and when we went to hand them out, you had to crush them in order to break the ice that had formed on top, because it was that cold on the morning, in order so that they could drink them. It was kind of funny. But it's a wonderful event. It's first thing on New Year's morning. It's kind of a unique event, and people dress up for it as well, so I
Mr.
move for
Chairman.
approval.
Thank you.
President?
Councilor O'Keefe.
Through you, a question to Councilor McCarthy. What are the beneficiaries of this particular?
The Wicked Running Club, after expenses, donates all proceeds to scholarships for student athletes at the high school, I believe. But it goes to charity.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor? Opposed? So voted.
Point of personal privilege, ma'am.
Councilor O'Keefe.
Not on this particular matter, but get back to parking meters, right? I'm sitting here thinking and chewing my gums and what have you. My dentist on Essex Street, when he was in the YMCA building, would have a little thing of coins on his desk that his secretary would give me to go out and put in the parking meters in front of his dental shop on Essex Street. And it's Councilor Ryan's father had a dental shop there on the first floor many years ago. But he had coins in there that he would give to his customers after he pulled their teeth. Give the coins before, though. Great guy, Jim Ryan.
Thank you, Councilor, for that walk
Thank
down,
you, gentlemen.
down memory lane. Further petitions.
We have the following license applications: secondhand clothing and secondhand valuable.
Councilor Sosnowski.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that these matters be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs.
No discussion?
No discussion.
All those in favor, opposed, so voted. Further petitions.
We have some list of license applications: limousine, taxi operators, and vehicle for hire operators only.
Councilor Sosnowski.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that these all be granted.
Thank you. All those in favor, opposed, so voted. Further petitions.
We have one taxi operator denial.
Councilor Sosnowski.
I move that this particular applicant be denied.
Thank you. All those in favor, opposed, so voted. Further petitions.
We have a hearing request from Robert Perez on the denial of his taxi operator license.
Councilor Sosnowski.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that this be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs to hold an executive session.
Thank you. All those in favor, opposed, so voted. Further petitions.
We have a hearing request from Rico Sutton on the denial of his pedicab license.
Councilor Sosnowski.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that this matter also be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs to hold an executive session.
Thank you. All those in favor, opposed, so voted. Further petitions.
We have 3 claims.
Councilor Sosnowski.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that these matters be referred to the Committee on Ordinances and Licenses and Legal Affairs.
Thank you. All those in favor, opposed, so voted. Unfinished business.
We have second passage of an ordinance amending traffic handicap parking limited time Butler Street.
Councilor Ryan.
Madam President, move for adoption for second and final passage.
Thank you. Under discussion?
No discussion.
Thank you. All those in favor, opposed, so voted. Further unfinished business.
We have a second passage of an ordinance amending traffic-heavy commercial vehicles prohibited School Street.
Councilor Ryan for Councilor Preeving.
Thank you, Madam President. Move for adoption for second and final passage.
Any discussion?
No discussion.
No discussion. Thank you. All those in favor, opposed, so voted. Further unfinished business.
We have second passage of an ordinance amending traffic handicap parking limited time Balcom Street.
Councilor Ryan.
Thank you, Madam President. Move again for adoption and for second and final passage.
Any discussion?
No discussion.
There being none. All those in favor, opposed, so voted. Further unfinished business.
Second passage of an ordinance amending traffic handicap parking limited time Mount Vernon Street.
Council Siegel.
Thank you, Madam President. Move for adoption for second and final passage.
Any discussion?
No.
There being none. All those in favor, opposed, so voted. Further unfinished business.
We have second passage of an ordinance amending traffic resident sticker parking Watts Court.
Council Sosnowski.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption for second and final passage.
Any
No discussion.
Thank you. All those in favor, opposed, so voted. Further unfinished business.
We have second passage of an ordinance amending traffic parking prohibited at certain times on certain streets, repeal section 51B and section 75 for Chestnut Street.
Council Sosnowski.
Thank you, Madam President. Move that this also be adopted for second and final passage. No discussion.
Thank you. All those in favor, opposed, so voted. Further unfinished business.
We have second passage of an ordinance amending traffic resident sticker parking Chestnut Street.
Council Sosnowski.
Thank you, Madam President. I move this be adopted for second and final passage.
No discussion?
No discussion.
Is that it? No discussion? All those in favor, opposed, so voted. Councilor.
Wish to be recorded opposed.
Councilor O'Keefe wishes to be recorded opposed. I see a number of hands. I'll start with Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. Moment of personal privilege.
Yes. Go ahead.
My wife is probably making him watch this meeting right now before she's forcing him to go to bed, but I want to I want to congratulate the freshman football team, Salem High School. They won their first game today, which my son happens to be a participant of. And to all the guys on the team, they've been working hard, and it's the first time the freshman team has won a game in 2 years, so they were kind of excited when they won, and it was nice to be at Bertram Field prior to coming here for the meeting, and I just want anybody who's parents of the freshmen, I mean, these guys have been working hard. They're a great group of kids, and well-deserved win today, and I would just want to congratulate my son, go to bed, and the rest of the team. Thank you.
Very nice. Councilor Fury.
On personal privilege, and I hope you all agree with this, wish to commend and congratulate you on your election in the primary. We wish you the very, very best of luck. How lucky we are, Salem's indeed fortunate to have you on the ballot in November, and we wish you and I wish you great luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Fury. Councilor Ryan.
Thank you. Another point of personal privilege, Councilor O'Keefe brought up today is my father's birthday, so I wanted to wish him a happy birthday as well as your son Stephen's birthday is fine.
Yep, it's 23
Number
today.
27.
Yep.
So wish both happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion? There being none, Councilor O'Keefe.
Move for adjournment.
Councilor O'Keefe moves to adjourn. All those in favor, opposed, we are adjourned.